Welcome to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you're looking to retire early with forever passive income, you're in the right place. This podcast is the go-to destination for real estate investors, both active and passive, and multifamily apartment investors, both new, intermediate, and advanced. Now, sit back, listen, learn, and accelerate your business, your life, and your investing with the Accelerated Investor Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to Accelerated Investor. Hey, listen, I just got off the phone with my CFO and had a good spirited discussion about growth. And when you're building a $200 million company, which is what we have now, and we're processing 10, 12, 13, 14 million dollars a year through our businesses and through our apartments, growth is not easy, right? Growth is not easy. Growing a business, getting to that level, and having the hierarchy of what everybody is doing and how they're doing it, it's not easy. But one thing I can tell you that does make it easier, is what we call mutual respect, right? And also having a group of people who operate in the clouds versus the people that operate in the dirt. I heard Gary Vee talk about something like this, years ago. Never really followed Gary or really followed much of his discussions, but this whole concept of the clouds versus the dirt is really, really important. If you look at our portfolio right now, we've got about 2,700 units. We're buying another 300 unit. We'll have about 3,000 units here within the next 30 days. And that also means that we've got roughly 25 people in the house, okay, when it comes to property managers, leasing agents, about 25 people working on our buildings that are in-house, meaning property management, leasing agents, okay? Then we've also got 25 people out of the house, meaning repairs and maintenance guys, maintenance. In addition, we've also got nearly 80 people working in CapEx, okay? So these are crews. They are guys doing lighting, flooring, paint, carpet, unit turns, kitchens, baths, all working under our CapEx budgets. And then on top of that, then you have what we call HQ, the HQ office, the home office, the headquarters. And that's much smaller, the HQ office, CFO, controller, director of operations, director of investor relations, customer service. We have a very small kind of corporate office because most of the buildings are managed by the property managers, those 25 people, and then the repairs and maintenance guys, those 25 people, and then those 80-ish that are working on different projects right now doing the CapEx. And those people kind of come and go because they're contractors, right? You might have 10 guys come in to do a flooring job and then they leave. You might have 6 guys to do a lighting job and then they leave. And then you might have 20 guys doing unit turns and they do the unit turns and then they leave. So, but what's interesting is that today I find myself spending all of my time in the clouds, right? I don't do any leasing. I don't fix any toilets. I don't turn any units. All of my time is spent in investor relationships, underwriting, acquisitions, and in analysis. And I think here's the point. Here's what I'd like to impress upon you with this quick discussion is the mutual respect between the guys doing the analysis and the guys actually doing the work, right? The clouds versus the dirt. That mutual respect is so critical because just because I'm sitting in the CEO seat and then I have my CFO, my chief strategy officer, my chief operating officer, the C-suite, if you will, just because we're primarily looking at analysis doesn't make us any more important, doesn't make us any more special, right? It doesn't mean we get to eat lobster when everybody else is eating hot dogs, okay? That's not how it works, right? To build a $200 million company like we have, processing $10, $15 million a year in cash flow, it doesn't work where the guy sitting in the C-suite gets to drive the Ferrari and eat lobster where everybody else is just, in the dirt. For me, I enjoy the work. I enjoy the journey. I enjoy the process of building this company, seeing the cash flow, turning units, even though I'm not in there turning the actual unit, putting in a new vanity or laying flooring. I'm not doing that. I enjoy the process of building a company that people want to work for. Okay. So because I have so much respect for the people that are in the dirt, the property managers, the leasing agents, the maintenance and repairs guys, the contractors, the CapEx people, that it allows me it affords me the time to spend in analysis. What I find with so many business owners is that they're so disrespectful to the people doing the work in the dirt. And the special companies, the big companies, the companies that have legacy, the companies that last are the ones where the C-suite that's in the clouds has a tremendous amount of mutual respect for the people in the dirt, okay, doing the work. And my job in the clouds is to find the holes, to grow and fill the holes, to find the choke points and get rid of the choke points. So one of the choke points recently, our CFO, Roberto, needs basically an accounts payable, accounts receivable clerk, right? Needs somebody that can just constantly be looking at invoices and paying invoices and then assigning those to the properties that he's working on. Okay. So that he can be more in the clouds, looking at analysis, looking at the deal from a financial perspective. Okay. And so I look at that and I said, okay, he needs more support. We started interviewing. Sure enough, we find people that used to work doing construction for other property managers or other construction companies. And sure enough, some of those companies are falling apart because they're doing such a bad job. They've got employees that we can steal. And that's exactly what we're doing to fill our hole, to fill our choke point, working underneath Roberto. When Dave, our VP of construction, was taking on all these large budgets, right now he's spending about $6 to $7 million in CapEx right now as I record this. That's what he's working on. He needed more help and, another admin person to basically go walk units, create punch lists, to review the work that the contractors did, make sure it's good, see if there's anything that's broken or punch lists that need to be punched out. So we brought that guy in, right? Because your best employees, your best people making the most money, if they're constantly putting out fires, right, they're never going to be able to do a good job. And if there's constantly fires in your company, then there's going to be somebody who's creating those fires, right? There's going to be an arsonist that's actually creating the fire. And ultimately, the person that's creating the fires is the C-suite. It's the people in the clouds, right? If the people in the clouds are not looking down and finding the fires and putting them out and making sure that there's no more fires that are there, then the people in the C-suite that are in the clouds, they're actually the ones creating the fires. They're not building the systems. They're not hiring the people. Okay.
Are you ready to automate and explode your real estate investing? We're searching for extremely motivated individuals who are sick and tired of wasting time and want to finally see real results from their real estate investing business. We're searching for investors looking to get to the next level and become a bigger, better version of themselves while being a more successful real estate investing entrepreneur. Apply for mentoring and coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. That's joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast.
So this is the tough part for a new entrepreneur or for a new investor, somebody that's just buying apartments, is how do you go from, right, being in the dirt and in the clouds to just being in the clouds? Okay. And I would submit to you that the answer to that is buying bigger properties. Okay. When you buy your first 200 unit or your next 200 unit, for every 200 units, you need a full-time property manager and then another part-time property manager / leasing agent. So you need 2 people in the house, and then you need 2 repairs and maintenance people out of the house. Okay. So that is the first opportunity now where a building can essentially be a standalone business, a standalone silo, a $10 million asset or a $20 million asset, 200 units, but that can be managed by the property management company and the repairs and maintenance guys. Then if you add your CapEx guys, obviously you add that in, okay? But it wasn't really until we owned it and managed at least 1,000 units that I was truly able to just be in the clouds all the time. Okay. And that's where I'm at now. And thank God I'm there, because there's still fires, there's still things that happen, but the numbers tell me where the fires are. The conversations with the employees tell me where the numbers are. Okay. Tell me what we need. The last thing I would tell you is that when you're operating in the clouds and you're in the C-suite and you're the owner, you're the executive, whatever it is, you've got to carve out time to spend with your employees one-on-one. It can be 10 minutes face-to-face. It could be a review that takes an hour, but there's got to be the time that you go sit down with every employee every year and get at least some face time with them and find out what makes them tick. Why do they like their job? What about your company do they enjoy? What is it that makes them tick? Why are they working there? What would help keep them, if they're a good employee, what would help keep them is often asking them about, little Johnny's baseball game, that, their son's baseball game, their daughter's dance recital, what's going on with their aging parents. Knowing them on a slightly personal level. Again, it's impossible to know everything about everybody, but on some personal level, understanding who they are, what makes them tick, is going to keep them around and keep them working in your company. That's why, again, working in the clouds allows you to be able to spend that time. Like I just did with Sheila yesterday. We had lunch yesterday. It was her review. And we started talking about the business. She's crying because I'm telling her what a good job she's doing and that I appreciate her and that she's been with me for 14 years and how important she is to me and how important she is to the company. I'm asking about her husband. I'm asking about her son. What's the next chapter of her life? How can I help her with either compensation or equity or bonuses to be able to, save and afford retirement? These kind of questions for an hour is the glue that makes the clouds and the dirt work together. Okay, the people that are in the business every day, having that mutual respect, but then also having those simple conversations for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, a couple times a year to make sure that they know that, hey, the guys sitting in the C-suite in the clouds, they're not better than us. They don't think they're too good for us. They don't think that, they just call the shots and they're the puppet master and they're just telling us what to do and we work for them. You want to build a $200 million company? Make sure that there's the gap. You bridge the gap between the clouds and the dirt, the people in the C-suite and the people doing the stuff through those conversations. Understand what makes them tick. Go meet with them face to face. All right. And also help them understand that you need to be in the clouds. You need to be doing analysis so that you can understand where the fires are at and put them out permanently in your business.
You were just listening to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you enjoyed this episode and learned something new, help us build the AI community by leaving a review and 5-star rating on our iTunes podcast channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. To see passive investing opportunities, visit freelandventures.com/passive. To start your journey toward the lifestyle you've always dreamed of with multifamily apartments, apply for one-on-one coaching with Josh at www.joshcantwellcoaching.com.